Hi, I'm Miss Natalie. I'm a kindergarten teacher with a mission to empower you to confidently navigate your child's education. Today, we're going to tackle the do's and don'ts of the ABCs. Now, this is something I know most children really look forward to, is learning those letters and the alphabet. But as a parent, it's a really daunting task. There are 26 letters. Multiply that by 2 with the uppercase, the lowercase, and don't even get me started on writing them. It can feel really daunting to get going with the letters. So today, I want to share with you some quick do's and some don'ts on the alphabet to help your child at home. The first do that I want to share is to start with the letters in your child's name. They're going to be most familiar with these letters, and they might already have a good idea of what they look like and sound like because they've been exposed to their names so much. So you can work together on writing the name and exploring the letters inside of it. A website that I really love is createprintables.com. On this website, you can create worksheets that are designed to be printed and traced out for just about any word you can think of. So you go on there and put your child's name in, and you can work on tracing it together. As you get to know the letters, you can go through and start tracing them out together. So I've got my name, Natalie, here. You might want to introduce them to how it's properly written with that capital at the front. And then you can explore a little bit more, maybe all lowercase, all uppercase, and work on recognizing their name in different places. Once they are starting to get more familiar with the letter names and the sounds of those letters, you can move on to other really familiar names as well. So if you have a school, maybe it's got its special initials, they've got a t-shirt with those letters on it. Maybe you wear your alma mater's t-shirt all the time. That's another great place because they'll recognize that and see it all the time. You could move into your last name. You could move into your first name. Kids love their parents' first names. It is something that they get really excited about, knowing that they have this secret name other people call them. So just play around with that, but that is the best place to pick out the first letters that you'll be working with. Now, if you're doing this and you've got an older child or a child that is already starting to read and spell on the side, while you're exploring the spelling and the basic letters with your child, your older child can be exploring other words spelled with that name. So you can see here I took Natalie and I found the word nat, tan, tile, tin, Nile from it. And this is a fun game to keep everybody occupied in that process of learning the letters. Now on the other end here, here's a don't. Do not focus solely on the uppercase letters. This is something in society that we are obsessed with the uppercase letters. I just took a look through my kitchen at a few common products. Here's some Tostitos avocado salsa, written in all capital letters. Here we go with some cookies, all capital letters. Even Sour Patch Kids, that logo, all capital letters. And this trend carries over to children's toys too. Take a look around your home. Anything that has letters on it, even if it's designed to teach the alphabet, will be covered with uppercase letters. It is really common when children enter kindergarten for them to know the names of most of the uppercase letters, barely any of the lowercase. So spend your time on those lowercase letters. They are getting the uppercase plenty from the world around them. Something you should do is focus on letter sounds over letter names. Now don't get me wrong, it's important to know the names of the letters, but your bang for your buck will go a lot farther if your child knows what those letters say. In education, you're going to hear a lot of terms like phonological awareness, phonics, phonemes. All of these words mean the same thing, and that is hearing the sounds that words are made up of. So letters are really just this code that we came up with to start recording and writing down what we're saying, but it's all about the sounds. A big skill that we have in kindergarten before the children start writing is developing phonemic awareness. So you might hear your kindergarten teacher saying things to your child like, what is the first sound in the word cat? Well, this answer to that is k, k, not C, k. What's the first sound in the word school? S. Or they might tell you sk, and that's all right too. Being able to hear those sounds and later connect them to letters is the key to developing literacy, reading, and writing. Don't spend a lot of money on this. Use what you have around you. One of my favorite things to use is junk mail and magazines to discover literacy. So don't throw those things out. Get a highlighter and ask your child to start hunting for that letter A. Use these printed free literacy packets that come to you in the mail or old magazines to your advantage. And as they get older, those hunts can start to be searching for sight words. And if you don't know what a sight word is, we'll talk about that soon. And then it can become a family affair. Your older child is searching for words like the, us, me. Your younger child is searching for letters like F and R, the letters of the day that you picked. If you're going to spend money on investing in something, one of the best things that you could do is invest in a printer, because there are endless free resources and ideas online, and your teacher might get in the habit of emailing you extra resources. I know in the COVID environment, I wasn't able to print things off to families, but I sure did send a lot of PDFs over email. Investing in a printer is a great idea. If you can't do that though, don't worry. There are plenty of ways that you can still do the alphabet at home, even if you're not printing out worksheets. Our next one, do repeat the letters. It takes the average adult 7 exposures to something until they really learn it. Imagine how many exposures your child needs for something to really, really let it sink in. And this is why I say don't invest a lot of money. Of course, I want you to have books at home, but if you're out buying the latest, greatest new toy every time because it's got letters on it, you are not going to be getting your investment back. Kids need repeated, constant experiences to really take things in. So if you decided as a family you're going to make the letters out of Play-Doh, let them make letters out of Play-Doh every other day for the next week. Make it a cherished activity. For you, you're not going to be running around trying to think of new things. Just know repeated experiences are the most bang for your buck. Remember back to your childhood memories? A lot of them are from repeated experiences. We do not remember things that happened once, so make sure you are repeating at home. As you start reading with your child, the same thing happens with books. I like to have the kids read the book 2 times in a row before they switch in my classroom, and I will only let them trade out new books maybe once a week, because the more you read it, the more you're going to remember. Your child might have something to say about this, but remember, they're coming home from preschool and watching Moana every day, so you can definitely repeat things, and you can pick what's on repeat this time, something that will feed their brain. On this note, do make a routine. So it is helpful to have a daily routine where you're spending a little bit of time every evening. Maybe you're doing something fun, like making those letters out of Play-Doh together. Maybe you've just gone to Walmart and you bought a big kindergarten book and you're doing 1 to 2 pages every day. If a daily routine is not feasible, I really encourage every other day or several times a week. This is because children's brains are wired differently than ours. Their brains are learning so much and they're making all sorts of synapses and connecting really quickly. But because they're taking in so much and learning so much, their brain is also actively pruning information. Have you ever taught something to your child and thought that they really had the skill, and then you don't touch it for 3 months and they have no idea what you're talking about? This is because of pruning. If you can imagine you prune a plant and you cut off the leaves, their brain has moved on to the next best thing that is being fed to them constantly. So it is use it or lose it with kids. And this goes all the way through puberty. So we're talking middle school, high school, early adulthood, use it or lose it. Our next one, don't stress if your child is taking a while to pick this up. They are still learning how to learn. And so if we don't apply value to what we're doing, they are not going to remember it. They might sit through and nod their head at you, but if they don't really understand what these letters are or why they're important, they are not going to give it the time of day to be interested or practice it or apply it. So what I really like to do is when we're on a field trip and we're all on the bus together, I really point out street signs, billboards, anything with print on it, and start showing them, oh my gosh, the letter T is all over the place. There's a capital, there's a lowercase, there it is saying t, t, t. Another thing that you can really do is lead by example. So if you are showing the example by reading at home, it will feel more natural for your child to want to read and build those literacy skills. So I know that you might want that quiet time in bed at night to do some reading. Maybe you can have that book out on the table and kind of show, oh, look at me, I'm opening up the pages, I'm doing a little bit of reading. And really show how those skills are important and used. I also really recommend making regular library visits. Most libraries have really good children's programs, and it can be really amazing to show children just the wide variety of books. Now, I know that there are programs that have books on the tablet. Get Epic is a really popular one. If your child is in school, you might have heard of Raz Kids or Reading A to Z. If they are reading, I think that's a good example. I do think there's value to turning the page and holding the book. But if getting a subscription to Get Epic Books is what's going to work best for you, then do that, because it's the reading that really matters. The next thing is you do need to try lots of different techniques with your child. So like I said, it can be really hard for children to pick up and remember what is going on. You want repeated exposures, but you also want repeated ways to try and see what's sticking with your child. Kinesthetic activities are really great. I'm a big fan of the scavenger hunt. So let's say you've picked out maybe 3 letters that you're working on for the week, and at the end of the week you are going on a little scavenger hunt around your house, trying to find things that make the sounds t, and k at the beginning. A really cute one I saw is if you have some plastic letters, you could freeze them in ice cube trays and let your child hammer them out and find those letters. But being able to touch and explore and manipulate is really useful. Something else you could do is also make the letters yourself on paper, big block letters, or print them out and have your child cut out the letters. And maybe they decorate them with a little bit of color, a little bit of glitter glue, glue some googly eyes on it, make those letters fun and exciting for them. But get creative. The more fun, positive activities and experiences they have with the letters, the more useful and exciting and memorable they're going to be. The last thing I want to cover here is don't just put on a letter video and call it a day. YouTube is filled with great learning videos. I use it all the time. I have my own favorite teacher channels that go through all the letters and teach songs. But you cannot just put on a video and stop there. If you're just letting your child stream through videos, yeah, they're gonna take something in and they'll certainly be occupied, but they're not going to recall it deeply the way that you want them to. So let's say you are working on the letter T and you put on a letter T song for them. When it is done, sit down, talk with them about the letter T. What were some words you found that begin with letter T? What were some things that don't begin with letter T? I love non-examples. It's just one more way to make sure that they really understand it and are not just repeating information. Maybe you sit down and you do some practice writing the letter T now. And when I say writing, yes, a pencil is great, but if you want to use some markers, some crayons, get into it. What do they enjoy writing with? But just showing a video and keeping it moving is not going to benefit your child as much as a quick debrief conversation will after. You don't have to have a huge activity planned after each video, but you should be ready to take at least 30 seconds, a minute at minimum to go over what they just did and have the child teach you a little bit about what is going on. So those are some of my do's and don'ts of the alphabet. If you have more questions, please go ahead and leave a comment at the bottom down here. You can also follow my Instagram at primary focus with an underscore at the end. I'll be posting more videos throughout the week on there so that you can get that alphabet going with your child. My name is Miss Natalie, and please subscribe and like this video below.